Hello friends, today's video is very important for all internet users. WhatsApp have updated their privacy policy last week. What they are saying is they'll be sharing their user information with their parent company Facebook going forward. Because of this, users like us are having a lot of questions. What will happen to the messages that I send? What will happen to the photos and videos? There are also a lot of misconceptions around this topic. To solve this, we broke this problem to 6 questions and we tried answering them. So that by the end of this video, a user will have enough information to take an informed decision. What are those 6 questions? Number one, what user data does WhatsApp have? Number two, what user data will be shared with Facebook? And when we say Facebook, what are the Facebook companies that will have access to this user data? Number four, how will the data that is being shared will be used by these entities? Number five, because of this data sharing, what are the problems and risks that we need to anticipate? Number six, as users, what action we need to take? Now, this policy has been around since July, but the only difference is that it was optional. Users had the option not to choose to share the data with Facebook. But what WhatsApp has done is in the last week they said either you accept the terms and conditions or you uninstall and walk away. Your deadline is 8th of Feb 2021. This attitude of WhatsApp has made a lot of users angry. So before we get into answering these questions, it's very important to understand why WhatsApp was bought by Facebook and what is the business model. So WhatsApp, when they started, they said there are going to be no ads and privacy is absolutely critical, and they kept to their commitment when it was with their founders. So they charged an annual subscription fee of $1 from the second year. But when Facebook bought a WhatsApp, they made it absolutely free. Then how does WhatsApp make money? It's through WhatsApp Business. I'll give you an example of business. You would have heard about WhatsApp banking, right? You can interact with your banks through WhatsApp. A bot on the other end will be operating and responding to your questions. For example, you can check your bank balance, last three transactions, nearby ATMs, all these. The other example is that you can book tickets through WhatsApp and you can get your tickets, PNR number, etc. Some of you might have used Redbus and you usually get your messages through Redbus. So these companies, these businesses usually used to pay WhatsApp some amount as their fee. But these are all very recent, and WhatsApp was not making a lot of money in it. Then why did Facebook buy WhatsApp for a huge sum of $19 billion? In Indian rupees, it's around 1.25 lakh crores. It's very clear that Facebook bought WhatsApp for its users. In 2014 alone, WhatsApp had around 45 crore users. Now, WhatsApp has around 200 crore users across the world, and in India alone, they have around 50 crore users. India is the largest market for WhatsApp. So it's very clear that bought WhatsApp was bought by Facebook for the users and the user data. Now, first we will answer the most critical question which people are having. Can WhatsApp read your messages? Will your messages be shared with Facebook? The answer is no. If you are sending a message to your friend, it will be encrypted and WhatsApp cannot read those messages. Only two people who can read the messages, you and your friend who is receiving the messages. But there is one exception. The messages that you send to WhatsApp businesses and the messages that the businesses send to you are not encrypted and that can be read by WhatsApp and the businesses. Now let's get into the first question. What user data does WhatsApp have? First, WhatsApp has all the information about your phone, what brand you're using, not only that, your model, the OS you're using, the battery levels, the signal strength, your telecom operator, whether it is Airtel, Jio, or Vodafone Idea. What is and the browser information, and most importantly, they have your IP address. In addition, there are some data points that you upload to WhatsApp to start a WhatsApp account. Your name, your profile picture, your mobile number, the location, access, and the status that you put in WhatsApp. In addition, as you start using WhatsApp, there will be additional information that will be collected. What are those? Your usage, your online status. How many hours are you online? When are you online? What are your calls, your video calls, your audio call details, the personal messages, the group messages, the media files, the images, etc. Your contacts, the location that you share with your friends and vice versa, the messages that you send to businesses and vice versa. Recently, WhatsApp has announced WhatsApp payments and transactions, that those transaction details. And finally, if you're using WhatsApp web, the third party data will be available with WhatsApp. So many data points are available for WhatsApp, and but mind you, everything is not stored, and the storage duration is different for different data points. Now, WhatsApp has clarified that they will not be sharing all the information with Facebook. They will not share some of the information. What are those? Your logs, your call logs, your group messages, your personal messages, your media files, your contacts, and the location that you share with your friends will not be shared with Facebook. But all the remaining data points will be shared with Facebook. Your entire details of the phone, your IP address, your name, profile picture, status. If you are giving location access to WhatsApp, that will be shared. Only the shared location will not be shared with Facebook, but the location access that you're giving to WhatsApp, that may be shared. Your usage details, how many hours you're logged in, the messages to businesses, your transaction details, most importantly. Now the third question, so these are the data that is being shared with Facebook. Means what are the Facebook entities that will have access to this data? WhatsApp has provided these details in their website itself. Now what are these companies? Number one, the social media site Facebook, of course. Number two, Instagram. Number three, the Oculus, the VR company. Number five, the Facebook Payments and Facebook Payments International. Number six, most importantly, Onavo, which was an Israel-based analytics company that was bought by Facebook in 2013. While the products are duplicated, Facebook has been using the products of this company to do multiple unethical businesses. Because of that, App Store had removed this Onavo VPN app from their App Store. So I will talk about it in detail towards the end of this video. Now, not only Facebook companies will have access to your data, third parties. What do we mean by third parties? When Facebook is using a payment gateway for processing your transaction, they may be called as a third party. They may have access. And as we said last time, your WhatsApp businesses will have access to the messages that you send to them and they can use them. Here, I had one big question. It was not clarified anywhere. Facebook has 10% share in Geo, right? Will Geo be considered a third party? We don't know. Whether data will be shared with Geo, we don't know. It still remains a question. Number four, how will the data be used? What will they how will they make money out of this data? Targeted advertisements. How are targeted advertisements different from other ads? You might have seen TV ads, right? They are very generic and it reaches to a mass audience. It's not very targeted. It is not necessary that every audience who's watching that ad has a high probability of buying. Whereas with respect to targeted advertisement, we understand the user and we know what they want, we identify what they want, and we get the product to that user. Because of that, the probability of that user buying that product is very very high. For that, these data will be used. I'll give you an example. Let's say you use for WhatsApp business to book a pregnancy checkup for yourself or your spouse in a hospital. This data will be shared with Facebook. Now 6 to 9 months down the line, your Facebook and Instagram will start showing ads of baby products, because they know that 6 to 9 months down the line you'll have a baby and these are the next products that you're going to buy. The probability of you buying Pampers is going to be very very high. So these ads are charged at a premium. This is one. Number two, because of this data, Facebook has huge amounts of big data and analytics. They can draw a lot of insight and they can sell it to large multinationals. I'll give you an example. When Facebook collects a lot of travel related data, they will know what has been the travel booking and the volume of travel to different cities within India. This data can be shared with companies like Marriott or Airbnb, so that they will know where they need to build more hotels and partner with multiple people to bring out more places for stay. And we can monetize this data through this. Now, point question 5. What are the problems? A lot of user data has been shared, right? There is a very very high risk of data breach. We have heard a lot of stories about data hacking and security breach among multinationals. Let us say we are interacting with a business. Here I have given an example of me buying something in a provision store and asking for a refund, for which I've shared my bank details. When a hacker hacks these details, he has my bank details, which is very very risky. Now, you might have heard LinkedIn, Twitter, even they are not exceptions to this. In 2012, LinkedIn had a major attack. Even very recently, Flipkart and other big e-commerce services partner, JustPay, their data was breached and all the payment details, the credit card details were taken and put it in sale for dark web for a few thousand or lakh bitcoins. So data breach is the biggest problem that we anticipate with this. Number two, to understand this problem in detail, it's very important to understand the story of WhatsApp very briefly. So WhatsApp was started by two Yahoo engineers. They quit their jobs in Yahoo and they started. In 2009, when it was started, in 2011, it became one of the top 20 apps. These founders were very committed to no ads and strict privacy policy. They were making money through subscriptions, annual subscription of $1 or 50 rupees in India. When they sold WhatsApp to Facebook, they stuck to their commitment. In their blog they wrote, here's what's going to change for you. Nothing. Absolutely, there are going to be no ads that is going to be interrupting your communication. Facebook also in the beginning said they will not share any data, WhatsApp data, with Facebook. But they made a big U-turn in the year 2016. They said WhatsApp data will be shared with Facebook. This was one major U-turn. And the second U-turn which they made is now, right? So even in between, the founders, the Brian Acton and Dan Combe, had issues with Facebook's predatory policy on user privacy and ads, and it made them quit in 2017 and 18. Facebook is expected to make more U-turns. In the future, we can expect Facebook to say that, hey, we are going to read your messages. If you want, you can stay or you can get out. So we can definitely anticipate this. And it is a very big risk. Problem number three. Even though WhatsApp had said there may not be ads, they are giving a disclaimer. They say that we have no intention to introduce ads, but if we ever do, we will update this policy, which means ads are gonna come. Not only that, like you're receiving your SMS, your spam SMSs in future, you may also get these offer messages through WhatsApp. So WhatsApp may have ads in the future. Number five, Facebook is notorious for its unethical ways. We may not be able to trust Facebook with all our precious information. I'll give you two examples. Um, do you know the story how Facebook bought WhatsApp and Instagram for huge sum of money? You know how Facebook knew that WhatsApp is going to be valued so much? It's because of this. The company which they bought in 2013, Onavo, they had a product called Onavo Protect, which was a VPN. They used this VPN product to spy on users. With that, they collected information on how many hours or how many minutes a user is spending in different social media sites. They spied on users and on how many hours they are spending in Twitter, Snapchat, WhatsApp. Because of that, they got to understand that WhatsApp is growing like anything, and in the future, WhatsApp may overtake Facebook. And that's how they came to know that WhatsApp is going to be extremely valuable, and they bought WhatsApp. You can read this snippet from a news article. It says, for months, the Facebook has been tracking WhatsApp obsessively using Onavo, a VPN data analytics app, whose data showed that the messaging app was not just rising competitor but a potential Facebook killer. Because of this, Apple removes Onavo's VPN app from their App Store. Not only that, all of you might have heard about this Cambridge Analytica story, right? Facebook had shared a lot of personal data without authorization, and it was used in political campaigns. In addition, Facebook was notorious for its research, where it was doing some research collecting data of under 18, right? Because of which it faced a lot of backlash in the US. So can we trust Facebook with our data? No, the answer is no. Facebook is notorious. We cannot trust Facebook. Even though Facebook may make one commitment, they may not really honor it. What is problem five? So far, WhatsApp has been saying that they do not have any user data and they cannot share. Now they cannot say that. They know that the data is being shared with Facebook, so they should share with government. So the government surveillance may increase. Now we come to the conclusion. As users, what action do we need to take? We have two options. Option one, either we delete WhatsApp and move to other apps like Signal or Telegram. Option two, accept the terms and conditions and keep sharing the data with Facebook, which is risky. Can we take a middle path? Yes, we can take a middle path. So these are the information that is being shared by WhatsApp with Facebook, right? We can try to minimize all the information that is being shared. We cannot do anything about this information, but it may not also be not very useful. But we can definitely restrict this information. Instead of our full name, we can just put the initials. We can We cannot use a profile picture. We don't have to put a WhatsApp status. We can deny location access in your phones. In addition, we may not even be required to use WhatsApp businesses. We can use other forms of businesses, and there are a lot of UPIs. We can stop using WhatsApp payments. Because of that, we can minimize that data that is being used or that is being stored in WhatsApp. Even though WhatsApp has a lot of issues, it is still one of the most useful and very good messaging apps. A lot of people are connected to their alumni and their schools, their friends, their relatives who are staying far away through WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is a very good product, but we can move from WhatsApp very very slowly. For instance, Signal. Signal was started by one of the founders of WhatsApp, Brian Acton, and he said their commitment is privacy. So we can slowly move to Signal, but we cannot do it immediately because we may, there's a risk of losing a lot of contacts which we don't want to. And finally, what is the ultimate solution? Do you know these policies are not applicable for people in Europe? They have a very strong data protection rights, GDPR. Can Indian government act on it? We will have to wait and watch. If Indian government acts on it, nothing like it. Hope this video has been useful to you, my friends. If you like this video, please feel free to share it with your friends. Give us a thumbs up button, subscribe to our channel, and please click the bell icon. Thanks for watching.